What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And thank you all for joining me on this Monday. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into Pete Hegseth and Mark Kelly. There's a lot with that. We're going to get into Cory Booker because I just learned a little bit about that. We're going to get into a lot of things today, you guys. Thank you so much for pulling up. If you're ready, I said, if you're ready, we're going to get into a lot of things. I want to thank everybody for pulling up. Thank you all. Thank you all. How are you guys today in the chat? How you guys doing? Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're listening from. Let me see it in the chat. I don't see it in the chat. Where you from, you guys? Anywho, thank you guys for pulling up. This is your girl Mika. We're going to have a good time today. We got a lot to talk about. So sit back and let's start. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and you're watching the Red Cup Podcast, where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. All right, you guys, we are back. I see everybody in the building. Okay. We have, let's see, we have Huntsville. Wow. I didn't know. Wow. Okay. Huntsville, Alabama. We have Maryland. We have Michigan. We have Wichita Falls, Texas. I don't know where that is, but thank you for watching. We have, let's see, Mississippi. All right. All right. We have, and we got a lot of places. Okay. Well, thank you all for pulling up. As always, Vegas, New Jersey. Okay. Tampa, Florida. Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. I see you guys. I see you guys. All right. Dallas. Y'all know I'm a Redskin fan. Dallas. Anywho, let's get started, you guys, because we got a lot to talk about. Okay. Anytime I see Dallas, Dallas. Anywho, you guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So I wanted to start with something that, I saw online. This is just wild, okay? If you guys don't know, Megan Thee Stallion has been suing, bloggers, people, everybody left and right. And the reason why I want to cover this case of Megan Thee Stallion versus Malago Grams is because it involves, people like myself and other YouTubers who people don't want to see as journalists. Meanwhile, the Constitution pretty much says freedom of press. Anybody can be the press, but they have an idea of who's a journalist, okay? And it usually involves some type of corporate conglomerate, all right? However, let's go ahead and get into this, you guys, because I want you guys to see exactly how the media and the courts and all of them are together. All right. When it comes to, one of their own, and when it comes to freedom of press. I want you guys to see this. Here we go.
Breaking news to bring you, a jury has now found social media commentator and blogger Milagro Cooper guilty of defaming rapper Megan Thee Stallion during the trial. Her legal name, by the way, is Megan Pete. She testified that Cooper participated in this targeted and coordinated social media campaign to harass, intimidate, and defame her in concert with rapper Tory Lanez, who was convicted of shooting and injuring her back in 2020. Legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer here once again as we sort of read through what's happened here. Brian, what do we know?
Yeah, so Milagro Cooper was found liable, not guilty. This is a civil case for 3 different claims: defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and something that's unique to Florida, and that's using those deep fake adult pictures of Megan Thee Stallion that were fake in AI. Now, overall, we're seeing, as you kind of break it down, it's a total of $75,000 in damages. Megan Thee Stallion never listed how much she was actually looking for in this case, but that's a number that the jury came up with. But here's a bit of the twist, and probably is more interesting to us in the media. One of the questions that the jurors were interested or tasked to decide is whether or not Cooper is what's called a media defendant, a blogger who acts more like you, Kira, like a person in the media. And they were kind of mixed in that decision. So now it's going to go to the judge to decide whether or not Cooper is a media defendant. And the way that affects, one, how bloggers operate going forward is going to be one thing, but it also affects Megan Thee Stallion, because if this is a media defendant, then they were not given the proper notice, and that defamation lawsuit could actually be thrown out. Or the defamation claim, just the claim, not the other two.
All right, Brian, thank you. We can always count on you for breaking news. Sorry, I was a little caught up in Megan Thee Stallion's outfits there. Another headline to this story. she clearly she's going to have a big magazine spread for all the suits.
And we're not going to buy it. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to see it. We don't care. So here's the thing about it. Okay. So the reason why this is so important, you guys, is because, as you heard, bloggers, they don't consider bloggers or, independent media to be journalists. Okay. Because they don't consider, people, as they claim, off the street or off the internet to have journalistic integrity. Okay. Meanwhile, they're getting sued left and right by the president and everybody else because they have no journalistic integrity. Okay. The BBC, ABC, BS Now, which is MS Now. Okay. The China News Network, CNN, all of them are what? Being sued. All right. Because they have no journalistic integrity. They lean one way. They say they don't, but they lean one way. All right. So you have all of that going on, and they don't want us. They don't want us to be able to talk about the news. I bet. Because we have no connections to, these conglomerates. All right. There are a lot of people, including myself, that know people in the industry and things like that, but it doesn't matter. All right. When it comes to reporting the facts, it doesn't matter. Right. And so they don't want people to be able to have that autonomy. All right. And so, like she said, this will go on where the judge will decide if, this is covered under journalism as a blogger. So I will follow this story, but I just wanted you guys to see that, because this, like I said, it affects people like myself and other YouTubers. I mean, you guys have already seen what people like. And I know how some of you guys feel about Candace, but you see people like Candace and things like that. But the thing about it is, if it's in the news, it's news. And that is the problem with this case that I have. Okay. Because what she was claiming was defamation was already things in the news. Okay. Academics talked about it. If you don't know who Academics is, he's another blogger, live streamer. Okay. Plus he's in the music industry. All right. So you had Academics talking about it. You had TMZ talking about it, and you didn't see Megan Thee Stallion sue them. I wonder why. But again, this is just, it's almost like low-hanging fruit so she can get a benchmark case. So the industry can get a benchmark case, right? Because they didn't go up against, like I said, those big conglomerates like TMZ and Academics. They have millions of dollars that they can throw at this case, and they would lose, right? So they go after the low-hanging fruit and they win, and now you have something to fall back on, not law, but a case to fall back on and recall when something comes up like this again. It's strategic. It's very strategic. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about the Megan Thee Stallion versus Milagro Graham's case. Oh, okay. I'm glad. Yeah, free Tory every day, all day. I want to go ahead and just read the super chat really quick. It is a $2 super chat from the Genius CEO. Thank you so much. Mika, it's the first, and my EBT just hit. I know that's right. I know that's right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And everybody else, remember what that pastor said. Remember what he said. I said $1,000. Y'all not listening. Okay. 1,000 plus another 1,000. Get it together. Thank you so much for the super chats. I appreciate you. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this really quick. This is wild. I don't believe it. I believe it. I really don't know what to think, but I just saw this. You guys, Cory Booker, and y'all can tell me in the chat. Cory Booker is married. And I'll leave it at that until I finish. This is this here we go.
Cory Booker is a married man. On November 30th, the U.S. Senator shares the exciting news to Instagram that he has tied the knot to Alexis Lewis just 2 months after their engagement. Alongside snapshots from their 2 wedding ceremonies, Cory writes in the caption, "Overflowing with gratitude. He said I do in 2 places that shaped us. Cory's beloved Newark and Alexis's hometown of Washington, D.C. Hearts full and so grateful." Cory and Alexis, who first started dating 2 years ago, announced they were headed down the aisle with a series of photos from his tropical proposal. He wrote on Instagram in September, "Alexis is one of the greatest unearned blessings of my life. She has transformed me, helping me to ground and center my inner life and discover the joys of building a nurturing home with someone you love." He added, "We are excited for this journey ahead, having so much fun and feeling deeply grateful for the love, support, and energy so many of you have shared with us."
Okay. So I wanted to share that with you guys really quick because yeah. Cory Booker, I said Booker. Same difference. Cory wants to run for president, okay? And you've never seen a single president in your lifetime. So Cory needs to get married, all right? However, I do not believe it. You cannot get me to believe this. Say what you will, okay? I just don't believe it. There's nothing about Cory that gives cis male. I'm just saying. From my observation, I haven't seen it. Okay. Like it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't correlate to me. But she looks like a nice lady. And she's from Washington, DC. So shouts out to that. But that's what they like to use. The liberals, that's what they like to be called. Okay. That's what they like to be called. Don't shoot me in the chat. All right. Yeah, but it doesn't, yeah, no. Absolutely not. It doesn't say to me that I wish them all the best. I absolutely wish them the best. She seems like a nice young woman or lady. Okay. And I'll leave it at that. But I just wanted to share that tidbit of information with you guys because I just saw it and yeah. That's all I'm going to say. So now, you guys, I want to move on to the economy. Okay. So a lot of people are talking about the economy, right? A lot of people are saying, when is Trump going to fix the economy? Even though it's only been the matter of a couple of months that he's been in office. Okay. In 10 months, I don't know how you fix the entire economy from over the last 4 years, but you guys are just rushing it. So that's that. But I wanted to highlight something that I thought was awesome to highlight. I want to highlight what Donald Trump is doing good. All right. And over the Thanksgiving weekend, we saw the following, and I want you guys to get in on this and see this and let me know what you think.
News for anyone who might dread driving over the holidays. 31 states report gas prices at a 4-year low, below $3 a gallon. MS Now's Alex Tabbitt is at a gas station in Lake Fort Worth, or Worth Beach, Florida. Alex, What are you hearing from people who are filling up right now? How are things?
Yes. Antonia, I've been hearing sighs of relief all day, and that's because, as you noted, the average cost of a gallon of gas in this country right now is just about at $3.02 a share. That's the lowest level we've seen in about 4 years, going back to the spring of 2021. Now, of course, the price of gas varies greatly from state to state. In California, you'll see the most expensive prices at about $4.50 per gallon. Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, you'll find the cheapest gas at about $2.50 per gallon. But these prices couldn't be coming at a more welcome time right now, and that's because it's estimated that 73 million Americans are hitting the road this week for Thanksgiving travel. That is 90% of the travelers this week, by far the most popular mode of transportation. I've been talking to drivers all day at the gas station right behind me about their experience at the pump. I want you to hear what one man had to say.
What did he say? What did
2 days ago, gas was like $3.09, but now I saw $2.95, and I got happy because I'm going to pass by Boca, and Boca, the prices are a little bit higher than here. Who wants to be spending $50, $60 a week for gas fill up? Instead, we could really spend $40. You could save that $20. You could add that extra $20 to your Roth IRA.
I know that's right. Smart young man.
And Antonia, it's important to note that the price of gas is the exception, not the rule. These drivers are telling me that rent is still too high, groceries are still too high, healthcare, which of course is a hot topic right now, is still too high. But at least when they're at the pump, the price brings a smile to their face.
Well, you could thank the Democrats for that healthcare. All you guys who voted for that Obama, unfortunately, that's what you voted for. However, the other things we can, fix right away. Okay, we can fix, gas. We can fix, these things that the Republicans are in charge of or have pushed for. But that Obamacare, that's a tough one. That's absolutely a tough one. All right. Now, I want you guys to also see this one here.
Now, gas is great. It's been lower than I've seen it in a while.
Florida gas prices are now the lowest they've been since December of 2023. The state average of $2.84 is about 12 cents down from last week and 27 cents lower than this time last year.
I'm right now. Gas is great.
So, Florida, what do you guys have going on down there? Why is the gas in Florida so cheap? Okay. And I'm starting to see, like, in a lot of red states, the gas is like super cheap. I saw $1.21 in Oklahoma. Okay. $1.21 in Oklahoma. Like, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So I love it. I love that for Americans. Okay. We got to tackle, the cost, right? But you guys have to be able to handle a little bit of a rough time, okay? Because some of you so-called conservatives don't understand that it's not going to go like that, right? It's not going to be a blink of an eye and everything is going to go back to the way it was before the last 4 years. And with some of you guys not being able to be patient, we're going to get some of these Democrats who are going to raise things right back up. Okay. They're going to undo everything. And we're going to get nonsense again. Because some of you so-called conservatives and independents, okay, are not patient. And if you put those Democrats back in next year, oh, you can forget about it. You can absolutely forget about it. They are going to crush us. So now I want to get into Abby Phillips, okay? Abby versus Katie Miller. And if you don't know who Katie Miller is the wife of Stephen Miller, all right? And she had a lot of words for Miss Abby, okay? Miss Abby, the one who has bald-headed reasoning, is a very nice-looking woman, but is just absolutely Trump deranged, just like the rest of the liberals that she invites on her show, all right? But I want to get into Abby Phillips here because Miss Abby is confronted by Stephen Miller's wife. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into that, you guys. Here we go.
Whether someone like Tucker Carlson, who is a very powerful force in the conservative movement.
You host people on your show all the time who call my husband and myself a Nazi. So how is that any different from Tucker Carlson going on? Nick Fuentes
is actually he's actually
anti-Semitic. He's anti-Semitic.
A Hitler admirer. Nick Fuentes is actually a Hitler admirer.
But he literally is not a good human being.
That is a different thing.
Excuse me, you have Jennifer Welch on your show very often, and you've never pushed back as she has called my husband a white nationalist.
Hold on.
That is no different than Nick Fuentes going on Tucker Carlson's show. It's not, and you should admit it.
Well, hold on. How is it anything similar? It's not remotely similar at all. Nick Fuentes sits around and says that he likes Hitler. How is that similar?
What does Katie have to do with it? What does she have to do with it? She has nothing to do with it. Literally nothing.
Scott, Katie is the person who just said to me that it is comparable to say that Nick Fuentes, who is literally a neo-Nazi, is the same as somebody, a liberal who has an opinion, who is not a neo-Nazi. They are not
a hateful opinion.
The same.
How do you want? Excuse me. Let's go back to this point one more time.
But
Nick
Katie,
Fuentes can espouse an opinion on Tucker Carlson's show.
It is not the same.
And he didn't push back the same way you didn't push back when someone called someone in my family.
Hold on a second.
It's not different.
Hold on a second.
It's not.
If someone comes on this show and says, I love Hitler and I admire what he did, they would never, first of all, I would never invite them on the show and they would never be invited back. So those two things are not the same thing.
But yet you've gone on Jennifer Welch's podcast. It's the same thing.
They are not the same thing.
They are absolutely the same thing. And you guys understand what she's talking about. If you don't, she's talking about Jennifer Welch. You know, I cover all the white liberal women that are just absolutely insane. And Jennifer Welch does not like any MAGA. She does not like heterosexual white men, white Christian men, or just white men in general. And she's just absolutely insane. Okay. The woman is absolutely insane. But I want to finish this here because Abby, she wasn't finished.
Integrity to point out that he is a white supremacist and he is the brain really quickly, Abby, because anytime that we play something from Stephen Miller, it would be journalistic integrity to point out that he is a white supremacist and he is the brainchild behind this policy. That's not my opinion. That's actual facts. And for him to purport lies from the Oval Office as a white supremacist,
I don't know.
It should be pointed out.
Look,
listen, it's reporting. Washington Wall Street Journal's own reporting.
I want to address what he's
really quickly.
So Katie Miller just said that Abby allows people on her platform, okay, on China News Network, to say that her husband is a white supremacist. Okay. Now, this woman here, if you don't know who she is, that is Tiffany Cross. She is on that Native Land podcast with another Trump deranged person. And that that person, you know, is just absolutely insane as well. But Tiffany Cross does not like Donald Trump, does not like Republicans, just lies about pretty much everything along with Abby. And so when it comes down to it, they're okay when it comes to talking about, you know, Republicans. Now, again, you can feel how you feel about people, about their point of views, but she called him a Nazi. Okay, she called him a white supremacist, and she's had multiple people come on and say that. And so Katie was doing what she was supposed to do, and that's defending her husband. So I have absolutely no problem with it. And Abby tries to, you know, assert that she doesn't do these things when she absolutely does. She absolutely does. All right. Like everybody knows that Abby, she plays into the whole Trump derangement. All right. She plays into all of that. So you guys, let me know what you think about all of that. What did you think about, you know, Katie Miller confronting Abby about allowing people to say what they want to say about her husband? And I just showed you an example. Okay. If I had more time, I could sit here and go over it, because there's so many different examples of people coming on talking about Stephen Miller. All right. Talking about his height when he's actually tall. Okay. He's 5'11". That's not the average height of a man in the United States or in the world in general. But talking about his height, talking about his area. I mean, just saying awful things about her husband. And so, Abby got checked. All right. And I guess this is the nice corporate way you get checked. So you guys, let me know what you think about that. Also, let me know what you think about Megan Thee Stallion versus Milagro Grams. Let me know what you think also about all the drama with that case. And let me know what you think about Cory Booker being married. And if you believe it. You guys go down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and share if you care. All right. Thank you so much. I want to read this super chat really quickly. Magnificent Gaming, thank you so much for the super chat, the $5 super chat. Maybe the blue states aren't fracking economies should be fixed with the next 9 months. I don't look, the blue states don't understand. I don't think they understand economics, right? I live in a blue state. I live in the state of Maryland, and I can tell you right now, this state is atrocious. All right. If it were up to everybody here, everybody would have an HOA. Okay. Everybody would have bloated government in every county, in every, part of the state. All right. They would have Democratic bloated government like PG County, like Charles County, like pretty much Baltimore County. Like, it's just so many things wrong with this state, right? And they don't know how to balance a budget, even though they were in a surplus when they got it. All right. And now our credit rating is down. And Westmore, him and all his bald-headed reasoning, he tried to say that, it was because of Donald Trump. It was a Donald Trump downgrade. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah. So that's what they're doing in the state of Maryland, which is a blue state. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing in most of these blue states. So no, I don't think these blue states will get on board. They're Trump deranged. And, pretty much I think their crew, will probably just go for it. They're going for it here in Maryland. So I don't see it changing. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, let's move on to some more deranged Dems. Okay, I told the person in the chat that said they were from Tennessee that we were going to talk about Tennessee. And that's because they're having a special election tomorrow. Okay. Will Tennessee voters reject the radical left? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Let me know for the people that watch this on the replay. Let me know. Will Tennessee reject the radical left? All right. And if you don't know, just in case you don't know, the Democrat, Athlon before, okay, is going against the GOP candidate. And Tennessee tends to be very red. Okay. The seat she's going after, okay, is a very red seat because Donald Trump won Tennessee by a large margin. Okay. But for some reason, I'm going to assume the great migration of the Democrats that like to run from their own states that they've heavily been populated in and then go to red states and mess those states up. I'm pretty sure this is why the Democrat has a chance. So let's go ahead and get into the Democrat. All right. If you don't know, this young lady has a video that surfaced of her being pulled out of a governmental office. You can't make it up. Here she is. This is who you guys will be voting for or against. And probably all the Democrats for. Here we go.
Okay. shame.
This is your average liberal white woman, okay? They go and disrupt to where the police have to come. They get drug out, and now they are the victims. The tears get to flowing, and the cameras cut on, and it's, oh my God, woe is me. I mean, the government is just so atrocious. Yes, that is the liberal woman, okay? Since when are you able to just barge into anybody's governmental office? Since when? Since when? Okay. She's lucky she was not arrested. Okay. She's absolutely lucky. But as always, there's more. Look at it. Look at it. I haven't even played the video. Look at it. Look at it. Absolutely insane already. If I sent you this and said, this will be your candidate, you will be voting on tomorrow, okay? This will be your candidate, you will be voting on in a special election, what would you say? Absolutely not.
Well, I'm currently involved in a transformative justice seminar. And so it's how to imagine a world without police and what that looks like and what community mechanisms look like, how people can not police themselves, but what, for example, if you experience sexual assault, like what is the reconciliation process and what does transformative justice look like? Because as we know, like you can't take those things to court. Like, you know, our legal system is terrible when it comes to retribution. So anyways, all that to say is that like, I hope all of you, so one, I'll have a podcast on it, and I highly recommend, like, if it's been difficult for all of you to imagine a world without police, please tune in to maybe not this episode, but the next one, because I'll talk about, things I'm learning and growing as an organizer, because I think, especially for those of us, that are young, like, and talking to our parents about what police abolition looks like, that, we can do it, and there is a world. Well, I'm
police abolition. That is a new one. I have not heard that. I've heard of defund the police, but police abolition. Okay, so these are abolitionists. Yeah, these are your candidates. Okay, on the Democratic side, on the left, whatever you want to call them. These are your candidates. Okay, they want you to envision. Well, but this is pretty much most of the far left part of the Democratic Party. They want you to envision a world without police, okay? They are abolitionists, and they intend to get rid of the police, okay? The black mayor down there in Memphis, all right, is, working with Donald Trump on making Memphis safer. And this one right here says, you guys don't need police. My folks in the chat that are from Tennessee, let me know what you think about this woman here, because she's saying you guys don't need police, and you all should be, ready to abolish it. Shout out to the police abolitionists. Now, I want to get into CNN's poll, okay? And it goes to talk about how this woman may win. All right. This woman very well has a bit of a chance. But even if she doesn't win, what does that mean for Democrats, especially when she's, fighting for a red seat and she's close? Okay. What does that mean? I want you guys to see this. So here we go.
It is Election Day in Tennessee tomorrow, a special election for Tennessee's 7th congressional district.
That's correct.
This is a heavily Republican district. So why are Republicans having to spend so much money there? CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten is here with the details. When I say this is a Republican district, Harry, how Republican?
It is a ruby red Republican district, John Berman. What are we talking about? Well, why don't we just take a look at the past 3 presidential elections in the great state of Tennessee, in the 7th district, in that great state. Look at Trump's margins. In 2016, he won it by 17 points. 2020, 15 points. And then in 2024, Johnny B, takes the cake here. We get Donald Trump winning by 22 points. That's why I say even a close GOP win tomorrow is a bad sign for them, because what we're dealing with is a district that all 3 times that Donald Trump was on the ballot in the general election, he won it by double digits. And last time he broke the 20-point margin barrier.
I would say if you had to look at the congressional map, any district that Donald Trump won by 22 points, you would say, you know, you've got like nearly a 100% chance of winning if you're running for Congress there. But what are the prediction markets saying right now?
Yeah, what are we talking about in terms of the prediction market odds? Look, the Democrat has a 15% chance of winning in that race, okay? A 15% chance, which ain't nothing in a district that Donald Trump won by 22 points. But here I think is the key nugget on this side of the ledger, and that is a GOP win by under 10 points. There's a 68% chance of that. So there is a more than 2/3 chance that the Republican candidate, yes, they win, but they win by a significantly lower margin than Donald Trump. We're talking about double digits, smaller. We're talking about a huge shift to the left. We're talking about, when you add these two together, we're talking about a more than 80% chance that there's a clear double-digit shift to the left, and a 15% chance the Democrat actually wins in a district that Donald Trump won by 22 points. That just shows you how bad the environment is for Republicans right now, that the Democrat has any sort of a chance in this district.
Talk to me about what the special election has been showing so far.
Yeah, okay, so you see this and you say, okay, this might just be a one-off in Tennessee. It's a December special election. But get this, 2025 House special elections, Dems outran Kamala Harris. We've had 5 so far. Arizona 7, Dem outran Kamala Harris. Florida 1, Dem outran Kamala Harris. Florida 6, Dem outran Kamala Harris. Texas 18, Dem outran Kamala Harris. And in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and Virginia 11, the Dem outran Kamala Harris. And on average so far, the Democrats have been outrunning Kamala Harris's margin by over 15 points. So what the prediction market suggests would happen in Tennessee is not something that's happening in isolation. It is happening all over the congressional map.
Okay, so when you see something like this, what does history tell us about what ultimately happens?
Okay, so you see these and you say, special elections, what do they matter? Well, take a look to the midterm that happens down the line. You go all the way back since over 20 years ago. What are we talking about? Special elections and midterm results. When a party outperformed in special elections since 2005, 5 out of 5 times they went on to win the House of Representatives in the next midterm. So what's happening, what's likely to happen tomorrow in Tennessee, what has happened across the congressional map is likely not to stay in 2025, is likely to push forward and be very good news for Democrats come 2026.
Watch these margins tomorrow night. Republican.
Y'all are absolutely insane if y'all vote Screaming Jay Hawkins in, okay? If y'all vote this woman right here, if y'all put Screaming Jay Hawkins in there, I'm telling you right now, you guys are going to regret it. You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. Okay? And if you allow this so-called blue wave to come back, oh, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. Because some of you feel, discouraged because in 9-10 months, you haven't gotten everything. So some of you are not going to go out. Some of you don't vote in anything other than the federal elections. And some of you, are just absolutely impatient. But I'm telling you right now, if you guys that are independents and that are Republican, conservative, whatever you want to call yourself, if you guys do not get out tomorrow down there in Tennessee, and if you don't get out next year, the Democrats will take the House back. Okay? And they might even flip a seat or 2 in the Senate. You are going to be in an absolute world of, you know what? Keep on playing. Screaming Jay Hawkins going to win. Okay? Screaming Jay Hawkins will win. Now, last but not least, I want to get into this newscast because this lady has an actual chance.
A closely watched race in Tennessee that could have a big impact on the balance of power in Congress. A special election is being held Tuesday to fill a seat of the retired Republican Representative Mark Green. New polling showing that Democrat Afton Bain is neck and neck with the Republican Matt Van Epps. This race has Democrats dreaming of a House pickup that really could help them trim that GOP majority. Meanwhile, top Republicans, of course, are trying to stop this from happening. Here now to talk News Nation politics, powered by The Hill, is Zach Schoenfeld, live for us in Washington, D.C. Zach, how big of a test of the blue wave will this election be?
Hey, Alicia, it's shaping up to be quite a big test. This is a district that even just a year ago, you'd have never thought that you and I would be talking about this as a competitive race, because this is a district, Tennessee's 7th congressional district, that President Trump just a year ago won by 22 percentage points, double digits. But now here we are a year later, and just as you showed in the polling just a moment ago, Alicia, this is really shaping up to be a competitive race now that we're talking about it being a special election. The Democrat still trailing there, but only by 2 percentage points, far less than the 22 percentage points that Trump won it last year. So even if these polling results that you see on your screen now end up being the real results, that would still be a huge gain for Democrats there. This is a district, it does have some blue pockets. It includes parts of Nashville and some of the Nashville area, but it also has a lot of big rural areas stretching all the way from the northern part of Tennessee on the border with Kentucky, all the way to the south with the border with Alabama. So this is, as you were saying, Alicia, is really Democrats now dreaming, hoping that they can use a special election and pick up one more seat in the House. Democrats are really focusing their messaging in this campaign here on affordability, trying to take the lessons that we've seen work for Democrats just a few weeks ago when they won the governor's mansions in New Jersey and Virginia. But also, even if you look back on the calendar earlier in 2025, we've had several special elections now since President Trump has been back in office, in which we've seen Democrats have better than expected results. But meanwhile, Alicia, while Democrats are focusing on affordability, another thing to watch is that Republicans are attempting to pin down the Democratic candidate, Afton Bain, by pointing to some of her past comments from just a few years ago. Back in 2020, she appeared on a podcast, and remember, she's running in Nashville here, and she actually said that she hated country music. I'll read you the quote.
No, she didn't.
I hate country music. I hate all of the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it. And just a year before that,
why do liberal white women hate themselves like this? No, she did not say that she hate country music. You hate Shania Twain? How? You hate the Dixie Chicks? You hate Faith Hill? You hate Carrie Underwood? Absolutely not. White women, I don't know how you stand for this. Y'all better not vote that woman in.
Democratic candidate called Tennessee a racist state in an op-ed. So that's really the battle here, a battle of Democrats' messages of affordability versus Republicans trying to tie her down and holding that seat by tying her down on those messages just a few years back. So this is going to be a really key race to watch as we get to Tuesday. Alicia?
Thank you, Alicia, and this young man. that woman has a good chance. Okay, she has a good chance to win. Y'all are playing. Y'all are out here playing. Okay, and I'm telling you, if you sit at home out here in Tennessee, if you sit at home, if you're independent, and you sit at home, if you are a Republican, and you sit at home, Screaming Jay Hawkins will win. Okay, all your country music down. Okay, all your good police sheriffs, okay, all your good police sheriffs, they will be gone. Okay, because she doesn't want them. She doesn't care about any of that. She's gonna turn good old Tennessee. Okay, she's trying to turn to California. And of course, she can't do it by herself. However, it goes to show you that these Democrats, they're not playing. They're mobilizing. They got all of their crazy individuals out here, and they're pumped up. Okay, they are waiting just to vote for a socialist. They are waiting to vote for a communist. They are waiting to vote for anybody that is against Donald Trump. You don't even have to run on anything. I haven't heard one thing that she ran on. Okay. And I literally am watching hours of footage every day. Okay. I've been watching stuff this weekend. I haven't seen one thing that she said. I've saw podcast stuff where she talks, till she's blue in her face. I haven't seen what she actually cares about. All she says is, we got to get it back from the Republicans. We got to fight against Donald Trump. That's all I've heard. Okay. And that's not doing anything for us. That absolutely doesn't do anything for us. But, if you guys don't get out there, that's what we'll get. Okay. We'll get this, screaming white woman, that's just absolutely insane. Okay. That absolutely hates herself, that hates what the city of Nashville is about, what Tennessee is about, like just the cultural overall, like white liberals are absolutely insane. They're absolutely insane. They only run, they're only first over the 92%. After that, the 92% takes hold. And then, third place are, liberal men. Okay. And that's all of them. You can just throw all of them in the same pot. They stroll to the polls, as we know. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about Screaming Jay Hawkins, pretty much possibly winning this race. The radical left will win. Okay. The radical left will win. They will win if you guys don't get out and vote tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think about all of that. All right. I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and read the super chats. Thank you so much, you guys, for super chatting. And what is this? Kim One, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. Mika, if under tax code section 20, code 6331, all right now, the federal government can garnish your wages and sell your property until tax debt is settled. Then can the government force people to save into a Roth IRA retirement account? Look at here. I don't know if you remember when they had the whole thing about back in the 2000s, and you guys are probably like me, you're little, but back in the 2000s they did have something that George Bush and the Republicans were trying to push, and the Democrats fought against it. They had things where they were trying to privatize Social Security. I mean, all types of things. The government can do what you allow. Okay. Income tax in itself is not legal, technically, according to the Constitution, okay, in Article 2. However, the Congress did it anyway, okay? We're not supposed to have central banks. Congress did it anyway, all right? They can only do what you allow, all right? We're supposed to have freedom, all right? We're not supposed to be under martial law. What were we under during COVID? So you can pull up all the codes and everything that you want to pull up, right? But if the people do not push back against it, it can happen. Okay. But here's my thing. I don't really care to force people to save. And you know why? Because if you're not financially literate, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can have somebody save for the entire year. As soon as they get the money, it'll be gone. So I think a better thing would be to actually put in financial literacy in school, okay, along with civics. Because if I hear one more liberal tell me that Donald Trump is not a king, when yeah, civics and financial literacy should be taught in schools. All right, take that out. Take gender studies out, take whatever, the story time, take all that out, put financial literacy in. So thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Let's go to, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. That's B Hunter. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Then we have Kim Wan with the $5 super chat. Thank you. If this is true, then we can do away with Social Security tax and let the people see and use their money. Well, Donald Trump has been pushing that whole, tariff. And it's funny that you say that because I just, on your other super chat, I just talked about back in the 2000s about the Social Security privatization and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I just said. It really is. Financial literacy. People need to learn financial literacy. Let's force that. If I'm going to be for the government forcing anything, let's force that in these public schools and these, indoctrination camps. If we're going to indoctrinate, let's do it where it actually benefits us as a society. So thank you so much for the super chat. But Donald Trump is doing was trying to do the tariffs to do away with income tax because, as I just stated, it's not legal. Let's see here. And then we got the business bully. Hey, Dave. $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mika, we got to figure out a way to stop the screaming white woman from carrying. I like that. Their way into elected office. You are not going to stop white liberal women from getting into office, okay? As long as they have all of these deranged purple, blue hair, green monsters running around with those septum rings, okay? Talking about, pay me a livable wage. Meanwhile, you go to school and get a degree in basket weaving, underwater studies, and gender studies. Okay. As if you don't know your gender, right? As long as they're doing that, they will be in elected office. Okay. They have a career to get to. They have degrees that they must get. Thank you so much, Dave. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, you guys. I have clowned enough. Let's move on to Ratchet Crockett. All right. You guys know Ratchet Crockett is one of my favorite Ratchets. Okay. A second close is the representative down there in Miami. Okay. Because she says she's a little ratchet and she likes to listen to JT from the City Girls. So she almost out Ratchet Crockett, but Ratchet Crockett still holds the title. Okay. So Jasmine, should she even be running for Senate? All right. Should she even be running for Senate? Well, let's see. Okay, because I honestly and truly believe that she doesn't really have a chance in Texas, but a lot of people believe that Wig has a chance. All right, but let's go ahead and see. Let's see what she's talking about, including what she's talking about along the fronts of Donald Trump, because over there at BS Now, technically MS Now, they cannot stop talking about Donald Trump. So I want you guys to see what she had to say this weekend on MS Now about all of this, including Afghans. Here we go.
Joining us now is the person you just heard, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She also serves on the House Oversight Committee. She's a busy lady. I want to hear about the stories that you heard when you were on the ground in Los Angeles for this hearing that we just teased, about the stories that immigrants, I imagine some who are not U.S. citizens and some who actually might be U.S. citizens, and what they had to tell you guys.
Yeah, so first of all, we heard the story of a U.S. citizen who was on her way to work. And as she tried to tell them, listen, I'm a U.S. citizen, they would not listen, and she was taken into custody. We also heard about just the conditions, the horrific conditions that human beings are being kept in, the unsanitary conditions. But here's the reality. We went to LA. I've been to Chicago to hear stories about, how much force is being used when people are being detained. But, I can go right home. And I know the stories of my constituents. I know about a young lady who's only 21 years old and had consistently showed up to her appointments and she was nabbed at one of those appointments. Her family said, make sure she's got her diabetic medication. They tried to give it to them. They would not take it. Ultimately, 5 days later, when they didn't give her medication, they had to take her to a hospital. They then put her back into custody. And ultimately, there were issues with literally like, I won't get so graphic, but involving urine and some other things.
Feel free to get graphic.
Well, I mean, there were allegations that because they were actually depriving them of water, that they literally were having to drink their own urine.
Absolutely not. Liars.
This can't be America. But obviously, in Trump's America, this is exactly what he wants. And the idea that one person can get out of line and commit such a horrific crime as shooting two National Guardsmen that never, ever asked to be here. In fact, we know the young lady that lost her life specifically, we're saying that this is a waste of time. But now you want to go against every single immigrant.
That is nasty work. That is nasty, nasty work. And I'm going to tell you why what she just said is nasty work. Okay. It's nasty enough that we have to look at that ill-fitted wig. And now she wants to say that this young lady here on the screen, okay, who was one of the National Guardmen that got shot, okay, and of course she's deceased. However, she wants to say that she said that she thought it was a waste of time. And where she's getting that from is, and we'll get into that a little later, because I'm going to show that to you. But where she's getting it from is a quote unquote supposed ex-boyfriend that decided to clout chase on CNN, okay? Because China News Network loves to go and find anybody that wants to talk. And what they did was ask the ex-boyfriend, okay, supposedly an ex-boyfriend. The woman isn't here. How do we know that's her ex-boyfriend? However, he said that she called him and told him, oh, I understand why we're here. We're making things safe, but it's a waste of time if, we're not able to do anything. So he elaborated a little more, but there's context there, okay? I still don't believe the gentleman, but again, Ratchet Crockett just likes to put things as if they are factual. We already know she lies, okay? We already know she does that.
That doesn't make sense. And it's frankly not who we are, because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you, I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime committal rate than white supremacists, but we don't.
Ma'am, are you suggesting that we kick out American citizens? You were literally talking about an American citizen, and now you are suggesting with the white supremacists that we kick out American citizens. Is that what you're suggesting? And then when it comes to the immigrants have a lower crime rate, ma'am, most legal immigrants do not report crimes because they're illegal. Okay.
Want to talk about that in this country.
I mean, the FBI has for years said that homegrown terrorism is a much bigger issue than anything from any other country. One of the things that we keep hearing the president say is that he is going to denaturalize people. There should be people denaturalized, people who don't adhere to Western civilization values, whatever that means. I'm curious what you think about that, because one, it's not something he can do, right? He can't go around waving a wand and denaturalize people. There's a process. He's not supposed to.
Okay.
There's a legal process to that.
Yeah.
But what do you think is actually behind that? Because he probably knows that he can't do it. But what do you think he's trying to signal?
I think he is trying to do what he's always done, which is instill fear. He wants people to go into the shadows. He wants people to hide out the way that they're doing right now. People are not sending their kids to school. They're not showing up to work. He is wanting people to be terrified, and he only wants his kind of people on the streets. He wants everyone else to kind of languish in the shadows. But we can start with the fact that he's married a couple of immigrants himself, and we can start there if we about to start denaturalizing. I'm just saying.
Oh, I wish we could denaturalize that wig, because I would send it back wherever she got it from. I'm so sick of this woman. I swear to goodness. What is she talking about? Okay. His wife got her immigration together before she even met Donald Trump. What is she talking about? Okay, and if you have a visa or something temporary, you would think you would do the right thing and try to work on your citizenship or whatever you're going to do to actually be able to legally stay in this country. Okay. A lot of people over the last 4 years, you had plenty of time. Okay. You guys were making money. You were doing all of this stuff. You could have actually got your citizenship. It's absolutely insane. She acts like somebody is doing something to these people. Like, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about?
Congresswoman, you mentioned children not going to school as a result of the fear that's being instilled by the president. But something that we should be talking more about, and that's children who are being caught up in all of this. ProPublica had a story out on Monday. ICE sent 600 immigrant kids to detention in federal shelters this year. It's a new record.
Absolutely not. You guys are lying. Absolutely not. Like, I hate that I have to keep stopping this, you guys, but it's just so many lies in it. Barack Obama, did we forget about? We forgot all about him. Right? We forgot all about him. We forgot that Barack Obama was busing kids all across the United States quietly, okay? Just busing them. Where do you think Trump got the idea from? I'm telling you, Trump has all the Democratic ideas. That's why he started doing the busing along with, you know, these people like Greg Abbott and others, okay? And Texas bust them before. It was nothing new. The media just wasn't reporting on it. Barack Obama had kids in cages. The kids in cages idea is Barack Obama. Okay, them laying on the floor. That is Barack Obama. That is not Donald Trump. Every time a liberal sends me that picture, I'm like, please, Grok, tell them it's 2014. It's not Donald Trump. They don't believe it because they don't want to. Okay? Talk about journalistic integrity. That woman and these people actually lie all the time.
In a majority of the cases we examined, kids ended up in shelters in ways government officials say they never would have in the past after routine immigration court hearings or appointments, or because they were at a home or a business when immigration authorities showed up to arrest someone else. Once children are in shelters, the government is making it harder and harder for relatives or other adults who act as sponsors to get them back. The average length of stay has grown to nearly 6 months, up from 1 month during the presidency of Joe Biden, public data shows.
Yeah, this is the pro-life party. I just want to be clear. This is the party that says that, you know, they care so much about life until life actually shows up at their front door. And this is also the party that supposedly is about Christianity. And I just imagine what they would have done to a little baby Jesus, but that's a whole other issue.
What?
You know, it is really so heartbreaking. We know that under the prior Trump administration, it was the children in cages. So for me, expecting them to do better by children was not one of the things that was on my bingo card. I never expected them to do better. I expected them to do worse. And frankly, that is what they have done with this entire administration, is they have made everything worse. Like, it was bad the first time, so bad that he got kicked out of office. And then unfortunately, America got amnesia and somehow he ended up back in office.
Kids in cages, ma'am. All you got to do is a simple Google search. What years do these say? What years are these? Like, look, she even comes up. What year is this, ma'am? Okay, the reporter in chief. What year is this? It's not Donald Trump. This is not Donald Trump. I swear to goodness, this absolutely makes it makes me boil over. Okay? Because that woman just sits there and lies.
Our unity, because there's so many more of us than there are of them, this hateful, venomous regime that we're living under right now.
Congresswoman, you sound like somebody who might be thinking of higher office with what you said today.
These are facts.
These are facts. I need a
no, what I just said.
I need a okay. You reportedly told CBS News Texas that you would make a decision about whether or not you were going to run for Senate by Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving's over.
Thanksgiving's over. We have you in the primary poll from University of Houston and Texas Southern University. 31%. You're not even in. 31% for you, James Tallarico, 25. Beto O'Rourke also not announced, 25. Colin Allred, 13%. It is post-Thanksgiving. Do you have an idea whether or not the data told you that you...
I will be perfectly honest, because y'all know that I'm too transparent and my team will probably get mad. The data says that I can win. Here's the deal, though. Data is only one part of the equation. You have to be able to execute. And the state is 30 million people. It's a $100 million race, as well as, we need to be able to take advantage of the fact that the Republicans are fighting right now and they may have to go to a runoff. And we also need to make sure we have what I consider to be a strong slate, people that can also raise money, people that also have kind of different groups of people that are attracted to them. And so it's more so logistical than anything at this point in time. But for sure, we did not stop our evaluation because the evaluation made it clear that the coalition that won on November 4th, Black and brown folk, when you look at the numbers in New Jersey, when you look at the numbers in Virginia, it was making sure that Black and brown, number one, showed up and voted the right way. I am the leading candidate when it comes to those two specific constituencies. And so it does make it to where I am very formidable, regardless of kind of what people may want to put out into the atmosphere. The numbers are the numbers. So we will see if execution
I said all of that. You guys, my bad. I said all of that. Let me repeat what I said. Okay, what I was saying before I stuck myself on mute. Thank you guys so much. And I was cooking quietly. What I was saying was they want that man right there, that James Tallarico. They want him. Okay, that's who they actually want. They want James Tallarico, but Ratchet Crockett is in the way. All right, Ratchet Crockett is a polarizing figure, right? She yells, she screams, she curses, and so there will be a lot of white liberal women that will vote for her, and of course, the 92% will be behind her. So there is, a built-in base. However, the Democratic Party wants James Tallarico. Okay, that's who they want. And so when you listen to what she's saying, if you cut through all of the nonsense that she's talking about, what she's really saying is that she wants to see that the Democratic Party is going to back her with money. Okay, all that infrastructure, that's what she's talking about. Okay, the Republicans, they have their candidates, they know who they want to back. The Democrats want to back somebody that isn't at the top. Okay, so she will win a Democratic primary for sure, but statewide, absolutely not. And so that's what they're trying to weigh, because they want her out of the way. Okay, but she's not going to move on her own. All right, she's not going to move on her own. But unfortunately for, Mr. James Tallarico, you're a white man, a white cis liberal man, and they don't want you. Okay, they don't want the patriarchy. Even if you back them up, they don't want you. The establishment doesn't want Ratchet Crockett, but the people, okay, the identity politics people want Ratchet Crockett. That is the problem. And that's what she was saying in a nutshell when you get around all that nonsense that she was spewing. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know if you think Jasmine Crockett should actually run for Senate. Okay. Let me know what you think. Do you think she has a real shot of being the senator of Texas? Do you think she has a real shot of, winning against the popular MAGA Republican? Okay. Because I do think she will win when it comes to the Democratic primary. I do not think she will win when it comes to a primary. I'm sorry, when it comes to the general election of the Senate. Okay, I don't see Texas voting for Wig. Okay, I don't see it. Okay, I don't care what her auntie Maxine Water tells her. All right, Wig will tell another Wig the same thing. I'm telling you right now, she will not win statewide like that. But we shall see. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of that. Because I just think it's absolute nonsense what she's asserting. Okay. So there's that. All right, you guys. And my bad. I did not know I was muted. I was just going off because I was so tired. I'm so tired of that woman. All right. So let's move on to the Somalians, okay, being deported out in Minnesota, and Governor Tim Walz, okay, Elmer Fudge. Let's see what he has to say about all of this, because Tim Walz is absolutely a liberal to his core. Okay, that man is a liberal to his core. But the thing about Tim Walz is he's just not he's not an enforcer of the law. Thus, why Minnesota is a Somali hub in the first place. But let's go ahead and get into Tim Walz. Okay, let's go ahead and get into him and what he had to say on Meet the Press. Here we go.
Be normalized. The people who Trump is, like, this is language police. You guys are woke. Many times it's just about being decent to people and making them feel included. You can use that word. Sure, you can use that language, but you shouldn't. And that's something that Donald Trump fails to realize. But again, Kristen, this is cruelness. This is meanness. It's aimed at a broader community. And as far as demonizing our Somali community, maybe he could help us on some things.
Like
demonizing
what?
an entire community, folks who are in the professions, educators, artists, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. They bring the diversity and the energy to a place like Minnesota. And for him to just randomly decide to do this, it makes no sense. Do your job. Get the criminals out. Secure our border. But do it with dignity and respect to the American tradition of respecting immigrants and refugees as a beacon of hope.
Well, speaking of the Somali community, President Trump is targeting them and your state in part. He's citing fraud as the reason for his crackdown.
Absolutely.
Dozens of people of East African descent have been charged, convicted, and sentenced for stealing more than $1 billion in taxpayer money from government programs during COVID. As you know, Governor, that is more than Minnesota spends each year to run its Department of Corrections. So I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy. And as you heard Senator Kelly say, this president has cut a lot of inspector generals. He's cut programs that could help us tackle this on. So we'll take it on. We'll put folks in jail. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care what your religion is, your color. If you're committing crimes, these are programs that were meant to serve students with autism, to housing, and to making sure people had enough to eat. There's a reason Minnesota ranks as the top, lowest childhood poverty, best place for children to live. People are taking advantage of that. They're going to prison. That is totally disconnected with demonizing an entire group of people who came here fleeing civil war and created a vibrant community that makes Minnesota and this country better. But that's Donald Trump. deflect, demonize, come up with no solutions. He's not going to help fix anything on fraud. My God, there's a big difference between fraud and corruption is something he knows about.
Well, Governor, let me have you weigh in on this, because part of your initial response to President Trump's post was to call for him to release the results of his MRI. And I want to give you a chance to give our viewers exactly a sense of what you mean. What exactly were you suggesting?
What did you mean?
Governor?
Well, here we got a guy on Thanksgiving where we spent time with our families. We ate, we played Yahtzee, we cheered for football or whatever. This guy is apparently in a room ranting about everything else. This is not normal behavior. It is not healthy. And presidents throughout time have released a couple things. They've released their tax returns, not Donald Trump, and they've released their medical records, not Donald Trump. And look, the MRI is one thing, but
did you guys see Joe Biden, aka the auto pen? Did you see Sleepy Joe release his medical records? I could have sworn we did not see those. Okay.
I think what's most concerning about this is, as your viewers out there are listening, has anyone in the history of the world ever have an MRI assigned to them and have no idea what it was for, as he says? So look, it's clear the president's fading physically. I think the mental capacity, again, ranting, crazily at midnight on Thanksgiving about everything else. There's reasons for us to be concerned. This is a guy that randomly says the airspace over Venezuela is closed. He's ruminating on if you could win a nuclear war. Look, this is a serious position. It's the most powerful position in the world. And we have someone at midnight throwing around slurs that demonize our children. At the same time, he's not solving any of the problems. So,
Child, okay, we had enough of Elmer Fudge. So Elmer Fudge is sticking by the fraud that's going on in Minnesota with the Somalis. Okay, the Somalis are just all over Minnesota, and they are actually becoming a well organized community. Okay. They are practicing group economics, and they are being a formidable community. So, you guys, if the government in Minnesota is allowing this to happen, can you fault the Somalis for doing it? Like, they found a sucker in Elmer Fudge here and they licked it. Okay. That's what it is. That's absolutely what it is. Elmer Fudge does not run his state, to the point where this wouldn't happen on a large scale as it did. And to, such a community that it shouldn't happen to, which is the autistic community. Okay. That made me upset. Like, it bored me. All right. However, I want to get into, these deportations. All right. And one gentleman who is a Somali, okay, from Minnesota, he went viral because he's back in Somalia. All right. After being deported. And this is what he had to say.
It just gets bad here, man. I just don't want to be here no more. Just pray to God just. I'm just tired of you guys talking about me and just always talking shit. You guys just don't even know how to just leave me alone. I'm just so tired. It just gets bad here, man. I just don't want to be here no more. Just pray to God just. I'm just tired of you guys talking about me and just always talking shit. You guys just don't even know how to just leave me alone. I'm just so tired.
That was, his first video. Here's his second.
أنا معهم ملنا دبي أنت اللي وضو باسبوركي ولا قاتي وأنا ساوك جرا أنت قفوا إمبسي لزال كورو إلى قبض أسوال عند علي. I don't want to be here no more. I'm so tired of being here. This place. This is where I'm living.
Who put that music behind this? Y'all are absolutely diabolical.
I'm so tired of it. It's just like, I want to go back. I don't want to be here no more.
Regardless what you think about the videos, the reason why I showed this is because you have groups of people that come here, okay, and the United States, whether you know it's good faith or not, you are let into a country, okay, that is far more wealthier than yours, and you come here and do fraud when your country looks like this. Okay, now I don't know if the gentleman, you know, did anything bad or not. I don't know if it's clickbait or not. However, what I do know is it definitely shows what can happen when you come over here and you don't get your paperwork together, and you are pretty much doing things that shouldn't happen. You end up back in Somalia. Here's the thing. If you live somewhere where it looks like that, or where the people are dangerous, why not get yourself together when you have the opportunity? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I never will. I never will understand it. The music was diabolical. Absolutely. I agree 100%. But my whole thing with that is, you know, people got, you know, they have to do better. Now, another thing I want to touch on is the ICE raids. All right. They had a couple of ICE raids in Minnesota. Here we go.
They just ran in the spot. I just came to the club to have a good time, fam. I don't know what the fuck going on.
It's absolutely insane what's going on. Okay. But again, when you have a governor who pretty much can isolate his, you know, his illegal immigrant community, or even his legal immigrant community, because what ends up happening is they come over maybe on temporary status, or you know, some type of refugee status. They have children, and those children end up being Americans. And like I showed in a live stream before, those types of communities benefit, you know, because now their children can go and get into these public offices. Okay. And it's absolutely insane, because you have people here in America that will never benefit like some of these legal immigrants, these refugees, these temporary status people, like all of this stuff. And for some reason, the Democrats, they cannot see it. Liberals, they cannot see it. Okay. And it's only going to get worse if we don't get out, one, and vote, and two, start to change our attitudes about economics and financial literacy in these communities. Because best believe these communities pool their money together, and then they go and support their own representation with their money. And that's why you get an Ilhan Omar. That's why you get Somali sheriffs. All right. That's why you get that, because they are doing group economics, which is the reason why I say financial literacy needs to be in school. It absolutely does. Financial literacy and civics. Because you're never going to get money out of politics. Okay. You're not going to get it out of politics. So what do you need to do? Your group needs to back a candidate. That's all. All right. And for some reason, as Americans, we don't get it. So you guys, let me know what you think about Tim Walz, aka Elmer Fudge, over there in Minnesota. You know, upset that Donald Trump is deporting, or wants to deport, a lot of the Somalian community. He wants to get rid of a lot of that community. All right. I think he's going to do it. Let me go ahead and read the super chat before we get into our last topic. $9.99. Thank you so much, love. Mr. Watson 80. Thank you. I'm just here to show my support. Invest in your favorite YouTuber. I know that's right. Invest in your favorite YouTuber so that they can continue to make fire content. My day one. I know that's right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Chavis, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I'm assuming you're talking about Ratchet Crockett. She should run to Wayfair for a better wig. Look, it doesn't matter if you're not going to keep the wig moisturized. Okay. That wig is in a corner shivering half of the time. That's why it's so stiff. It's shivering to death. Oh God, I have too much fun up here. Thank you so much, Chavis. I appreciate it. Like a stiff chat. Anywho, thank you so much for the super chat, you guys. Let's go ahead and get into this last topic. I can't stand y'all. Oh, not a fox hat. David Crockett. Stop. I'm trying to report the news. I have to mute this daggone chat on my screen. All right, you guys. Let's get into oh Lord. Let's get into Mark Kelly. Okay. Mark Kelly is a part of the seditious six. Okay. Mark Kelly Mark Kelly must be stopped. All right. Mark Kelly has started something that I think he is not aware of. He is sowing division in our military. And that's something that we definitely do not want. Okay. Mark Kelly is doing something that is definitely going to cost us in the long run. However, I want to go ahead and get into what Mark Kelly had to say on Meet the Press as well. I'm telling you that lady over there at Meet the Press, I'm telling you, she gets everybody. All right. So let's go ahead and get into Mark Kelly and what he had to say on Meet the Press. Here we go.
You can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time.
It puts a tremendous amount of burden on officers in the military, but that is their responsibility. And they can figure out, a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
So would you refuse these specific orders to strike drug boats if you were still in uniform?
Well, the difference between the initial strike and what is being reported, as a second strike, and those things are different. I think this administration has tied themselves in knots. The explanations that we have received on how this is all legal. And I was saying weeks ago, my concern is with the service members that we're gonna put these individuals in a really, really tough decision, in a tough place. And they may find out, down the road that they did something that is illegal. It is not fair to them. That's why we need presidents and Secretary of Defense who understand the Constitution, who understand the rule of law, and have more respect for the Constitution and the country and service members than the whims of a president.
That man is absolutely ridiculous. Dr. Evil is sitting up here saying that the Secretary of War, okay, the department has been changed, sir. Okay, it is not the Secretary of Defense. However, here's the thing. He's sowing division in the military, and to me, that's absolutely not acceptable. because these are the men and women on the front lines. These are the men and women who are given orders to do such. And once you start putting certain things into their head, now we can have a debate about what we think are good orders, bad orders, whatever. However, you cannot cause confusion like this, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to cause people to question things while they're out in the most dangerous operations. And I'm just saying, it's not something that I would get behind as a member of Congress and as a veteran. It's absolutely not something I would get behind. Now, what I found funny is that they don't talk about orders from Joe Biden. They don't talk about orders from Barack Obama. Okay. And they don't even talk about orders from George Bush. Okay. All of these people, they don't talk about any of the orders. What was it legal to go into Yemen? Was it legal to go into Iraq when we were supposedly fighting with somebody from Afghanistan? Was it legal then? I didn't hear anybody say anything. I heard not one person. All right. And so I want to get into this tweet or X post by a vet. Okay. A vet named Jennifer Ruth Green. She said, I just want to point out that thousands of service members who refused the illegal order from Joe Biden that forced them to get a COVID jab were fired without their benefits, and Democrats were perfectly fine with it. Shout out to this young woman here. Okay. And she is running for Congress. Okay. Miss Jennifer Ruth Green. And she's running as a Republican, a Black woman as a Republican that you actually know that's Black. Okay. Not none of that curry. So here's the thing. This woman here is absolutely pointing out a perfectly good point. What happened to that? None of the Democrats had a problem with it. None of these Democrats had a problem with this. This was perfectly fine. This was on the table. Why weren't they upset and outraged at this? It's because they don't care. It's not about that. It's absolutely not about that. So they're off one thing, and now they're moving on to other things. I want to get into our favorite liberal white boy here, Harry Sisson. I said it right, if you want to know. Here's what the liberals are actually mad about, and what Kelly and everybody else that's a part of the Seditious Six are mad about, and what they're going to use, and what they're trying to do. They're trying to stoke division and fear, and they will use anything. Here we go.
So MAGA Pete Hegseth just essentially admitted that he and the Trump administration have committed war crimes, and they just don't care. They're celebrating it. You might have seen this reporting from the Washington Post today on an order that Pete Hegseth gave to drone strike a boat in the Caribbean, kill everybody on board, and then when there were 2 survivors clinging to the boat, they struck them again, blowing them to pieces. And then Pete Hegseth addressed it, and he's not denying these central aspects of the story. Of course, he called it fabricated, inflammatory, yada, yada. But he also said that the intent of these strikes was to be lethal kinetic strikes to stop drugs from coming into the United States, destroy narco boats, and kill the people behind these things. And then he defended himself right here, saying that everything is legal in compliance with US and international law. The problem for Pete is that he's not being honest. He's not giving everybody the details, and lawyers are now chiming in on this story. Ryan Goodman said that it's textbook war crime / extrajudicial killings. Todd Huntley, a former military lawyer who advised special operation forces for 7 years, said, quote, killing any of the men in the boats amounts to murder. George Conway said this would be a war crime even if there was an actual war and these people were actual combatants, which there isn't and there weren't. It's unquestionably an unlawful homicide under any form of law you wish to apply. And yeah, you can't go around drone striking random boats. And when they're
You can't go around drone striking. That is an interesting take. Obama invented the drone strikes. Oh, we can't bomb random boats, but we can bomb U.S. citizens sitting in a coffee house. Didn't know that, sissy.
Are survivors who are unarmed and don't pose an immediate threat to any Americans, you can't strike them again. That's just killing somebody. So Pete Hegseth can brag on Twitter all he wants. He's just giving more material to prosecutors for when this case comes before a jury.
So that was the resident liberal, Harry Sission. Okay. Yeah, that man is absolutely ridiculous. However, that's exactly what Barack Obama did. Okay. Nobody had a problem with that. Okay. Let's move on. Here is Mayorkas saying that they didn't properly vet the Afghans. I want you guys to get into this because we're going to talk about it and what Senator Mark Kelly and all them are saying about what happened with the National Guard. Here we go.
Was Afghanistan a successful withdrawal?
Senator, the evacuation that the Department of Defense and the Department of State led was historic in evacuating so many individuals.
Of those that are evacuated, how many of them were vetted before they got on the plane?
Senator, it is our policy to vet.
That's a simple question. How many of them were vetted before they got on the plane?
Out of Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Cannot speak to that, but it is our policy.
So you can't tell us how many people were vetted before they got on the plane to come to America.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're speaking of the plane to come to America, let me, if I may, Senator, explain the process. Because we, working with our allies.
Okay, here's a question. Very simple. Those that got on the plane.
For America, it is our policy to.
Please listen to my question.
I apologize.
To those who got on the C-17s and other planes, how many of them were vetted before they got on the plane by American officials?
To the United States, it is our policy to vet and screen 100% of them.
So 100% of those people that got on the plane were vetted. That's your testimony under oath.
It is our policy to do so.
That's not, I don't care what your policy is. I'm asking how many people were vetted before they got on the plane. Do you know the answer?
Senator,
if you don't know, just say I don't know.
Senator, I do not know if anyone boarded a plane that was not fully screened and vetted.
Can you tell me that all the people that got on the plane were vetted?
Absolutely. I can tell you that all of the individuals.
Before they got on the plane.
If I may, Senator, all of the individuals who arrived in the United States have been screened.
That's not, listen, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm trying to ask a simple question. We've had that.
And he cannot answer it. Okay. We've been talking about that for how long? They cannot answer it. What's up, Salami? They cannot answer it. Okay. Because this is, that's it right there. We don't have a problem with any of this. None of this is considered war crimes. None of this is considered issues in America. But we have a problem with Donald Trump going up against boats. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. Now, remember earlier, okay, I told you that CNN did something very trifling. They went down to West Virginia to talk to the National Guardsmen, okay, down there and talk to people in West Virginia. Well, I told you that they found the ex-boyfriend, remember? The supposed ex-boyfriend. All right, I want you guys to get into this because I found it very, I found it very suspicious that this supposed ex-boyfriend popped up because they're trying to bake a cake. They have the stuff with Pete Hegseth. They have, these Venezuelan boats, and they have this separation that they're trying to do with the military. It's all encompassed in one. So I want to go ahead and show you what the so-called boyfriend here said. Okay, here's Chad.
And she just was also like, why am I here if I can't do nothing? Where they limited them so much. She's like, it's pointless. She's like, I get why we're here. Crime's bad, but it's pointless if we can't do anything. And she just was also like, why am I here if I can't do nothing? Where they limited them so much. She's like, it's pointless. She's like, I get why we're here. Crime's bad, but it's pointless if we can't do anything.
And this is exactly what I mean. They're using all of these things to actually, come at Donald Trump. Okay. This man right here that you see at the bottom of the screen, Senator Mark Kelly, that man is a veteran and he should know better. But again, he's trying to stoke division. Okay, now I've shown you tons of, not tons, but I've shown you things that would make you say, well, what about this? Why wasn't this an issue? Why wasn't this an issue? Because they have an agenda. Okay, they absolutely have an agenda. And Donald Trump is disrupting that agenda. Okay. JD Vance talked about this earlier in the year. Okay, talked about vetting these people. And what did they say? They said that, hey, these people are vetted, right? They said that these people were vetted. And then JD Vance said exactly what just happened with the National Guardsmen here in DC.
When you talked to us in August, you said, I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary
Do you stand by
concern
it?
as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's
are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted. And many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't.
So what about the guy here in DC? This gentleman that this just happened. What was he radicalized here or was he radicalized at home? And just like JD Vance said, it doesn't matter. They're not vetting these people, right? But that isn't an issue. That's not an issue either. Okay. And according to Martha here, okay, on Face the Nation, it's a one-off. So what happened last week? I suppose that's a one in a million. You see, they forget these clips. They forget all about them because CNN has been saying all types of stuff. But then you get Senator Mark Kelly up here. Oh my God, the National Guard, they're under attack and they shouldn't be there. And this is what they're doing to our vets. And even the vets, you guys, you are buying into it. I want you guys to see the TikToks that the vets are doing. Some of the vets are doing right now. Okay, I want you to see this. Watch this.
As veterans, we just want to say that we support Mark Kelly. Hey, Pete Hegseth, fuck you and fuck your investigation. As veterans,
what did you say, veterans?
Support Mark Kelly. Hey, Pete Hegseth, fuck you and fuck your investigation.
You see what I'm saying? Mark Kelly and the Seditious Six absolutely know what they're doing. They're going to use all of this. They're going to use, again, the stuff with Pete Hegseth. They're going to use the stuff with Donald Trump and these attacks on the National Guardsmen. Okay. And the media is complicit with them. They are going to use it as well. All right. And then the vets, just like with anything else in the voters and everything else, they're going to go right with the Democrats and get all in their feelings and say, oh, yes, they're absolutely right. And then when, it all comes down, they'll be begging for help. I'm going to tell you right now, if we allow the Democrats back in, we're not going to have a country. We're absolutely not going to have a country. Okay. We're absolutely not going to have a country. And I'm not saying either side is the best, because there are absolutely rhinos that I can't stand. But I'm going to tell you right now, if we do not protect not letting these people back in mass, we're not going to have a country. I want you to see this last video from the vets, because I'm just like, I can't believe that vets are falling for this. Okay, watch this.
Last week, veterans in Congress spoke up and told service members to remember your oath, and everybody had an opinion about it. Well, now the veterans have something to say.
Okay, let's hear it.
As an Army veteran and retiree. I'm retired Master Sergeant, United States Air Force.
I'm a United States Marine Corps combat veteran.
I'm an Army veteran. As a combat veteran.
21-year combat veteran of Special Operations, U.S. Navy.
I stand.
And I support.
As a veteran, I stand alongside.
I stand firmly.
As a veteran, I stand.
I stand.
And I support.
I stand.
We support Senator Kelly and the Righteous Six in affirming.
I stand with Senator
Righteous
Kelly
Six.
and the Righteous Six.
Senator Kelly and the Righteous Six in affirming that.
Senator Kelly and the Righteous Six.
Senator Mark Kelly and the Righteous Six.
Senator Kelly and the Righteous Six.
We stand with Senator Mark Kelly and the Righteous Six to affirm.
We have a constitutional duty to disobey unlawful orders.
Service members must refuse unlawful orders and report them.
Disobey any and all unlawful orders.
Refuse unlawful orders.
Disobey unlawful orders.
Refuse unlawful orders.
Disobey all unlawful orders.
Never follow an unlawful order.
Disobey all illegal orders.
Disobey unlawful orders. We did not swear an oath to a president. We swore an oath to the Constitution.
We swore an oath to obey the Constitution.
We swore an oath to obey the Constitution. We swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, and that oath remains.
Non-negotiable. We can't pick and choose which parts of the Constitution to follow. We either have a Constitution or we don't.
And it is your right to reach out to JAG at any time. We have your backs.
We got your six. Hold the line. Remember your oath.
So come and get me, Hegseth.
And with that, I land my plane. Here's the thing. Mark Kelly is absolutely poisoning the military. Okay? He is going to use this against Donald Trump, along with the rest of the seditious six, or as the vets are calling it, the righteous six. Now, you guys know I understand all of the paid actor stuff, and you know I understand that, okay? Because I live out here in DC, and a lot of these protesters are paid, okay? And some of them handsomely, like 80 grand, okay, to mobilize people. You could have just asked me. However, here's the thing. Nobody suffers but us. Okay. So these vets, what were you getting under Joe Biden? Most of the vets I know out here in DC sleep on the ground. Donald Trump went out to California, saw all of those homeless vets sleeping on the ground, and he made California clean it up. He did the same thing here in DC. Joe Biden let you sleep right in front of the White House on the ground. Didn't matter. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. The Trump derangement is that high that you would actually split the military. Now they know exactly what they're doing because the Seditious Six, and you guys can go look this up, the Seditious Six had a whole website. Okay. They had a domain name and all of that stuff. All these billboards and all of that where you can report your unlawful orders, right? They did the domain back in August. Donald Trump and all of this stuff didn't start until what, late September? They knew what Donald Trump was going to do with Venezuela and all of this stuff. And one of the Seditious Six, she's part of the CIA. Go figure. Okay, so you either have a leak Trump or you have somebody that's just, that they're not on your side. And unfortunately for Trump, I think he has a lot of those people, even with the people that he handpicks. And so with that, I am going to move into what you guys know as my final thoughts. Let's pour it up. I think Donald Trump is just going to be fought on every front. It is what it is. Donald Trump is not going to be able to do everything that he wants, right? But I do believe that if people get out in one vote, but also if people get out and actually push back against a lot of these agendas, that we can get majority of these things done. Because let's be clear, the Democrats are going to try to cheat, just like they tried to cheat in the election before. Okay, they are going to try to cheat when it comes to these midterms. However, you got to make it too big to rig. And a lot of people just stay home, right? They understand that the population does not understand the importance of these midterm elections. They understand it. These special elections, all of that. And that's where the Democrats come in. They understand your ignorance. That's where the Rhino Republicans come in. They understand your ignorance. Okay? If you want Donald Trump to actually do some of the things, some of y'all got to get up off y'all's you know what. Like, it's not only the responsibility of the people that we elect. You have to actually be out and active in your communities. It starts on the ground in these small towns. Like, these people don't just pop up. Okay, Ratchet Crockett, well, maybe Ratchet Crockett, but usually people like Ratchet Crockett don't just pop up. Okay, they start small. They infiltrate here, they infiltrate there. Okay, I just did a story yesterday on Jason Lee. We all know Jason Lee. Okay, we know him from wilding out. We know him from being a messy, you know what, online. Okay, being a messy boots, doing everything possible, talking about this celebrity, that person, this politician, whatever. Right, and now he is a politician, and he's also under investigation. Shocker. Because the Democrats cannot help themselves. Okay, they see your tax money, they say, hey, it's free money. It's absolutely free money. But the people keep voting for it. And again, this is where it starts. It starts all small, your city councils. Then they move up to here, to mayor. Then they move up to representative. Then they go to Senate, and then they run for president. Cory Booker. Okay. Kamala. Same difference. That's what these people do. Brooklyn Hakeem, aka Brooklyn Barack. Hakeem Jeffries. That's what all of these people do. All right. Jenny from the block, AOC. Like, all of these people start locally. And then they progress. Unless it's just some stupid candidate that they're backing. Okay. Like Madami did a whole leap. Okay. From council to mayor of New York. But again, same difference. If you allow these people to come in on the smaller local levels, they will succeed. And they quietly will just keep rising and keep rising. Screaming Jay Hawkins, okay, has a good chance to win down there in Tennessee because people aren't paying attention. You're not paying attention, and they know it. This is why I keep stressing I wish people fight for things that actually matter, financial literacy, things that actually matter, like civics in school. Who cares? Girl, boy, trans, whatever. Do you know how to run the economy? Do you know how to run your household? Okay. The reason why we are dependent on so many things, they took home ec out of school. They took shop out of school. All these children would not even have to depend on these high overpriced degrees if they knew how they can start a trade because they go to schools where they have trades that they can learn. Everybody doesn't need to go to college. Everybody don't. But that's what the liberals push because they're in bed with what? The colleges. It's a funnel. It's a pipeline. Federal dollars go to the colleges, circle back. They put in who they want to put. Like, it's all a big business. And everybody's falling for it. So, who ends up being the beneficiary and who ends up being a sucker? And for the last 4 years, indefinitely. I mean, we, the Americans, have definitely always been the suckers. Okay. But the last 4 years, we've been a huge sucker. We got some wins. But best believe the Democrats are coming back to finish the job. And Project 2025 may be not a thing, but best believe Agenda 2030 is. That's on a grand scale of the entire world, the United Nations, everybody. That is a real thing. And that the liberals are definitely pushing. Put them back in if you want to. We'll be just like Europe. People don't think it's true. People think it's a conspiracy. People think it's this and that. Y'all about to F around and find out. However, I could be wrong, like I always say. But you're more than welcome to tell me what you think down in the comments, in the chat, all of that. But Agenda 2030, I'm telling you right now, the UN is not playing. They're absolutely not playing. So thank you guys. As always, let me read these last super chats before I get up out of here. Slimmy says with the 1999 super chat. Thank you so much, Slimmy, my homie. The grind don't stop, homie. Keep going, Mika. And you know I will. Thank you so much. Yeah, and let me know about that Five Nights at Freddy. Yeah, let me know about that. Because I'm definitely going to see it. And if I don't fall asleep, we can have a whole conversation on it. I'm just hoping it's better than the first one. Thank you, Slimmy. If you don't know, you can check out Slimmy on his movie reviews over there on the Room 9 channel. Thank you so much, Slimmy. I appreciate it. You guys, thank you so much for pulling up. I want to thank everybody in the chat, everybody that donated to the show. Thank you so much. I do really appreciate the super chats, the super thanks, the thank you to Mike That Dude on Cash App. You know, I just thank everybody that contributes. So, you guys, if you watch football, don't root for the Cowboys. And if you are a Redskins fan, like me, we're not going nowhere. But enjoy football, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much to everybody that pulled up. Sugar Shane, Magnetar, Dunn, 920, Swa Jones, the Genius CEO, Artifacts, Michael Armstrong. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Dave, the business bully. Thank you so much to Eric Watson, Mr. Eric Watson 80. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tyrone. Thank you to, I always mess up this name, Menelik. Yeah. I'm so sorry that I mess that name up every time. I'm going to get it one of these days. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you to Loud and Clear. Thank you to Donna. I see you, love. Thank you to Frankie. Thank you to who else we had in the building. Let's see, Shadow Dragon TV. Thank you so much. Thank you, you guys, for pulling up. I appreciate it. It is your girl Mika. If I missed your name, I apologize. But no so way. I think I said that one. I try to get a bunch of them in here, but it never works. Chavis, thank you. Because it just be so many. 48 right, Josh, all of you guys. Thank you so much. Eric Harris, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm actually in the new year to all my super chatters and my super thanks people who hype the channel. And yes, you guys start hyping these videos. I just found out about the hype, so if you guys could do that, that'll be great. But again, thank you guys. I'm going to start putting those in the videos and down here on the ticker on the lives to everybody that supports the channel. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Yakar, one of my mods. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kim One, for the super chat. Thank you, JB Hunter. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Got flavor. It's your girl, Mika, and I'm out. Peace, you guys.